Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Founders Grid, sponsored by Gaper.io. Today we have Abby. Abby is the founder of Tailor Framed. Abby, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So, give us a brief background about yourself, what you've been doing prior to Tailor Framed, what you've been up to.
Sure. So before Tailor Framed, I was working as an admin assistant at Blue Cross Blue Shield Association. And I did that for about a year and a half or so, almost 2 years. And my husband and I found out that we were going to have a baby. And when we found that out, I really wanted to have the flexibility to be able to be home and be able to work remotely. And my current position did not allow me to do that. And I also just wanted, complete flexibility over my schedule. And I decided that the best thing to do if I wanted to keep working was to just brush up on my skills as a web developer. I had taken a web development class back in college, totally outside of my major. It was just one of those electives that you have to take. Well, I chose to take it, but yeah, I took the elective to fill a requisite, and I actually really enjoyed the class. I didn't really think I could make much of it after graduation though, but yeah, once I decided I needed to work from home and I was looking for remote work, I discovered freelance web development and I decided to go for it. So this year in January is when I started Tailor Framed.
Nice, congrats. So, uh, so how's the journey been so far? And how, so yeah, how's the journey been so far? And how old is the baby? Are you still?
She is one. She's
Just
just
one.
turned, yeah, she
Okay.
turned one in the summer. Yeah.
Okay. So you founded, wow, that's just, mind blowing and amazing, founding a company with a 6 year. Okay, let's start with founding a company with a 6 year old company. Then let's articulate the conversation towards having a company in the pandemic with the 6 months, 7 months old kid. So,
Yeah. Yeah. So thankfully, um, yeah, I think the hardest thing was like, how am I going to find clients? I think that's everyone's challenge. And you always hear about, at least with web development, people have a network that they can reach out to. And I had like a little bit of that. I had a couple of friends that had their own businesses that I built websites for. But beyond that, like I didn't know how to scale it and turn those into more clientele down the road. So that was definitely a struggle in the beginning until I discovered LinkedIn in the summer. And I don't even really know LinkedIn as like somewhere to put your resume and kind of just leave it there kind of thing, not necessarily as a social media networking engine that it really is. And when I first joined LinkedIn, I just did like the classic cold messaging, sending out like a couple hundred messages here and there, and got nothing back. And it wasn't until I took a step back from that and just started posting helpful, valuable messages on a daily basis that I started to generate demand, and people started to reach out like, hey, we'd like your help with these projects. So I think definitely like the beginning of the year with COVID and everything, it was tricky to figure out, okay, what businesses are even really thinking about making moves like this. So it wasn't until like the summer that business started to pick up for me, when everyone had kind of adjusted to the new normal. So yeah.
so interesting. So that's a good. So when it comes down to productivity hacks, so what productivity hacks you're using, uh, being a mother as well as on Zoom, how are you going about it?
So for me, my life revolves around my daughter. So obviously she's the priority, but I adjust my schedule around her. So I know like, okay, these are the times like either she's asleep, I can have like the highest productivity. And then while she's awake, I can still do things depending on like how the day is going. Um, it's just that when I do have that time, I have to be really focused with it. So a lot of that has to do with just really having my phone in a different room, having a schedule, a to-do list, like here is what I'm going to do. Sometimes I block off time in my calendar, because what I don't want to happen is like my day be filled up with meetings and that kind of thing. So I really guard my time. I put blocks in my calendar if I need to, and I just get in and I focus. I have a to-do list and goals. I have goals that I set out to achieve for the day. So It's just about baby steps and working with the time that you have.
Okay, that's good. And what are the kind of like, do you go in like 3 hour sprints or 8 hour sprints, or how are you able to kind of like go about
So I do 2 to 3 hour sprints, usually like one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and one in the evening. And I also work a little bit on Saturdays as well. So that usually I'm able to get all the work done that I need to. And because I can control my own schedule, I can adjust deadlines as I need to. So ahead of time, I'll be like, all right, if I make sure that I don't put myself in a box with these really tight deadlines. I always give myself some wiggle room, just in case something goes off and I don't get the time that I thought I did. That way, there's like flexibility in the calendar.
it? Interesting. And which communication tools or which productivity tools are you using? Like Monday, Notion, Slack, Trello?
For myself, because it's just me, I don't really have any issues with like getting in touch with a team or anything like that. But when I do have clients, I use Basecamp because sometimes I need assets from them, or I'm sending them like multiple drafts for revision, and having multiple email chains, like 6 different email chains, and 2 of them have vital information that I need somewhere in the chain and I have to go dig for it. Like that's just takes up way too much time. So what I do early on in the project is I set up a Basecamp project and I give them access, and any kind of assets, any revisions, it just all goes on that project, and it's made things much easier.
God. And where do you see Tailor Frame 3 years from now?
Oh my gosh, that is such a good question. um
That's the last one. That's the most trickiest one. So take your time.
I know, we'll see. It's honestly, if I've learned one thing from this time with COVID, is that nothing is 100% in your control. You know what I mean? Like right now we're all kind of at the mercy of this pandemic, and you're forced to look at things in the short term. So ideally, this is my idea. Ideally, I would like to just have a consistent steady continue on with the trend that I'm going, which is having a consistent stream of clients. Ideally, by then I would have a specific niche. Right now I'm just working with SMEs and small businesses, but I'd like to have a more narrow niche that I really specialize in, and just continue to do the same work as far as web development and copywriting, depending on what the workload is like, working with other freelancers or contracting out some of the work. But we'll see. Yeah.
Abby, thank you so much for being on the show. Take care of yourself, stay safe, and good luck in building Tailor Framed. And hopefully, we'll keep on hearing amazing news from you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much. Thanks for reaching out. Have a good one.